What? 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 Why can't you?
I literally have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Why can't you?
Read history. You learn from history.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
I've never had my flabbers so gasted.
Why can't you? I did this. Why can't you?
Hey everyone, it's Tim here for another edition of Headliners. I am here. We've got some things to talk about. Mikey is somewhere. I don't know. He's probably still in moving mode or whatever. I don't think he has a setup is what I'm saying. So it may be just us. He might join us later. Who knows? So, how are we all doing? How's everyone on the internet today? Hold on, let me say hi to the peoples. Come on. I was told this would work. Oh. Well, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for me. Maybe. We'll see. All right, let's say hi to the peoples. We got Scott in the chat. Oh, that's not going to work for me. Stupid StreamYard. StreamYard? Yeah, stupid StreamYard. Anyway, Scott in the chat. We got a button.
Democrats are revved up.
Billy. Oh, I actually got to find this one. There we go.
Fettuccine, linguine, martini, bikini.
Viper Scott.
I'm talking to you.
Adams.
This is sick shit.
Scroll. Person impersonator.
Thank you for your question, Senator.
Chrissy in the chat.
We got rudder. Go! Freeze, sir! Freeze!
And the Dark Lord Greg.
We do not have unlimited money in the United States.
Ooh, I might have to download a new sound effect. See if I can. Anyway, how's it going? I got a bunch of clips to watch. We have so many. So many clips. We're going to be watching most of that presidential interview. Oh, here we go. For the Dark Lord Greg.
Achievement.
So let's get into it. Let's do the thing. Oh, Indie Duck. Hold on.
I doubt it.
All right. So. Oh no, my speakers are not in the right setting. There we go. Now my speakers are in the right setting. Are y'all ready for some Trump flying off the handle because he can't handle the truth? That's not the way it's supposed to go. There we go.
This Sunday, Turning Point, my exclusive interview with President Trump as the war with Iran reaches the 100-day mark.
I don't like these endless wars. This is not an endless war.
What makes you so sure this won't become a quagmire?
We're not going to be there.
As pressure grows on the economy with the midterms approaching.
As soon as that's complete, gasoline prices are going to drop like a rock.
Plus, his controversial plan.
Wait. What's going on, Belfast? What are y'all doing over there in Ireland? You leave my Ireland alone.
Plan that could give payouts to January 6th rioters.
Hey, Wishaza. Wait.
Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold on. I actually have to follow the stream. I have to actually like go to the stream and follow it. Let's see. Here we go. I don't need to hear me talking. That's terrible. Who wants any of that? Who wants to listen to me talking? Here we go. The Guardian. Geez. All right. So, breaking news. We'll switch to this for a moment. We'll switch to this for a second. So, police call for calm amid fears of a planned protest in response to Belfast knife attack that could lead to disorder. UK Politics Live. What happened? There was a knife attack? Last time I remember, let's see. Show more. There's like a timeline you guys got going on here. Does anyone want to give a summary? Like a clip notes of this, because it's a lot. It's a lot to read. Let's see. Hold on. Reading. Oh, there's a timeline up here. Okay, let's see. When did this happen? Okay, so Christy says apparently a black man tried to decapitate a white man with a Stanley knife. Jeez. Was there a motive given? There was an appalling and brutal attack in North Belfast. Here, let me make this a little bit bigger so we can all read. Police have made an arrest, and it is vital that they're able to do their job. Residents should be told the facts as soon as possible. Go away, paywall. Ooh, a YouTube video. My favorite medium. Hold on. I'm getting the video. Loading. Okay, Belfast stabbing. Man arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. That's the one we're looking for. That's the one we got. Bam. Share this tab.
Keir Starmer has described a stabbing in Belfast as sickening and said he would have absolutely no tolerance for the abhorrent scenes of violence like this on our streets. The police service of Northern Ireland said a man arrested over the stabbing is believed to be Somalian and in his 30s, and the alleged victim has significant injuries to his face, neck and back. Let's speak now to Colin O'Carroll, head of news at the Belfast radio station U105. Hello, Colin.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us. Tell us when this happened and where.
It happened just after 10:30 last night in North Belfast, which is not too far from where we are now.
So if this this guy is head of news, why does it look like he just woke up? Come on. At least put a non-wrinkled shirt on. Ollie would be appalled.
now, actually, just over my shoulder is North Belfast. So it's in an area close to where the former courts used to be on the Crumlin Road, between there and another major road called the Antrim Road. So it's quite a densely populated area. The part that it happened in would probably be more of what we would call a nationalist area than a loyalist area, although there is an interface close by. So it's an area of quite dense population, fairly transient population. A lot of people have moved in there from different parts of the world, overseas, and there's a lot of apartments and things. So you do get a lot of people, fairly, like I say, transient population, new immigrants, people like that.
And what do we know about the condition of the victim?
Well, he's said to be either serious or critical. He's still alive, which is the best thing we can say. Major injuries to his face, neck, and back. Mainly, I think, his throat. He would seem to be suffered a lot of knife wounds to the throat.
Look, I mean, obviously there's a lot of speculation this morning, particularly online. What have the police in Belfast actually said so far?
Well, they've said that the man that's been arrested is believed to be Somalian or Somalian extraction, possibly a foreign national. And apart from that, I mean, there's social media videos, so you can see for yourself what's happened. I wouldn't advise anybody to watch it because it's quite brutal and quite upsetting to watch. I've seen it. It's not something you really want to. You certainly wouldn't want to be showing children or young people. I've spoken to one of the community activists in the area who I know quite well. I actually live not too far. I live in North Belfast and lived in.
So is the fear here that there's going to be a right-wing anti-immigration protest? Because I remember the last time, not the last time, but several years ago, the wife and I planned a trip to Dublin. This was probably post-pandemic, like 2022 or 2023. And there was a stabbing attack in Dublin. And it spurred anti-immigration protests because social media put out that the man who did the stabbing was an immigrant, even though that wasn't true. I'm not saying that's not the case here, but at the time it turned out not to be true. And then like the protesters burned a city bus, and they ruined a portion of O'Connell Street. Is that a similar? Our right-wing politicians are out. Okay. Fanning the flames. Okay. So this is going to turn into like a right-wing clusterfuck. All right. And I know that Belfast has a much more complicated political history than say Dublin does. And that Belfast is still pretty complicated politically, and there's always some kind of tension. I'll let the video play a little bit longer.
North Belfast for a long time. And according to him, there may have been some racial tensions there between this Somalian person, people of that background, and local people. There's some suggestion that perhaps the man who's suspected of being the knife attacker was himself attacked or racially abused and has reacted in this way. We don't know about that yet, but there's some speculation that there's been some racial tensions between immigrants and local people.
Well, this is a developing story. I'm sure we'll come back to it. Thanks very much indeed. That's Colin O'Carroll, head of news at the Belfast radio station U105. And look, the Assistant Chief Constable Ryan Henderson in Belfast has urged the public not to reshare images or footages of the stabbing. He says it risks causing further trauma to the injured man's loved ones and would impact the ongoing investigation as well.
After a man has been taken to hospital with serious injuries following a stabbing in North Belfast, Reform.
The one thing I like about, I guess, European talk radio or British and Irish talk radio is that it's actually news. Like, I don't know if y'all heard talk radio in America. Unless you're listening to like NPR or in like an AM station doesn't have a bend one way or the other, it's nonsense. Like conservative talk radio is those people are crazy. And I feel like every time I go over there to Ireland, and the few times we've been in Northern Ireland, we get a more, I guess, accurate depiction of what the news. Yeah, it's very interesting how calm they are telling the news instead of losing their goddamn minds. Like some of the talk radio in this country is crazy, and people lose their shit over everything. A good example is like Alex Jones or Bill O'Reilly or what was his name, Rush Limbaugh. Like the conservative talk radio sphere is fucking crazy. But whether or not these people are conservative or liberal or whatever, this is refreshing to an American who just wants to listen to the news.
UK's leader Nigel Farage is now calling for the identity. Belfast Reform UK's leader Nigel Farage is now calling for the identity and status of an attacker to be revealed. Graphic footage allegedly of the attack has been shared online by the anti-immigration protest leader Tommy Robinson. Well, Amanda Ferguson is a journalist in Northern Ireland. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell us what we know so far about this attack?
Yes, so after around 10:30 last night, footage started to circulate of an alleged violent incident, and then there was a lot of reaction from people like Stephen Yaxley Lennon and others who may never have been to North Belfast in their lives, making various sort of allegations about it. But we do know that shortly after midnight last night, the PSNI issued a statement saying that officers were currently in attendance at Kinnaird Avenue following a report of a stabbing incident which took place after 10:30 last night. So a man has been arrested in relation to the incident and he's in police custody at the moment, and a second man has been taken to hospital with serious injuries. So officers are looking for anyone with CCTV or dash cam footage or any information about last night's.
So this is still like a developing situation, right? Oh, I forgot to change my fucking name in here. Hold on. I changed my name. I'm not JD Vance. That was a joke. There we go. I assume this is a developing story and not all the information is out, so we'll keep an eye on it. If anything new comes out, let me know. Meanwhile, back to yeah, VP Tim. Back to Trump.
If it was up to me, I'd pay them the kind of money that they deserve.
And his continued claims about election fraud.
They're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
all I have to do is look.
Joining me for insight and analysis are NBC News National Security Managing Editor Carol Lee, Mark Short, former director of
Okay, we don't need to listen to all of Meet the Press. Who wants to do that? Nobody. We just want the interview.
Joined him at Custer Farms and had a wide-ranging interview that was unfortunately interrupted multiple times by the stormy weather.
Any chance we can get him to rage quit the war?
President Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Dude he's very bored with it. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
I know. We're going to talk about that later.
Visit while you're here in Wisconsin, but I'd like to start off by talking about the major issue that you are focused on every day, which is Iran. Mm-hmm. Sunday will mark 100 days since the first strikes. Your Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said that the war had concluded. And yet just this week, Iran attacked U.S. allies in the region, calling it retaliation for a set of U.S. airstrikes. Is the United States at war with Iran?
Well, they've been largely decapitated, and I call it a military exercise because people would rather
military exercise.
That,
whoa,
a big war.
All right, first it was a war, then it was a military action, then it was a war, then it was a journey. We took a little journey. Then it was, we made like a stopover. And now it's a military exercise. He doesn't know what the term military exercise means. A military exercise is training. Was the war in Iran training?
For us, it's not. We have the most powerful military in the world. I built it, frankly. I built it in my first 4 years, and I'm using it a little bit in my second 4 years. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft is gone. They might have built it up a little bit over the last 4 weeks during this little ceasefire.
Actually, this is very true. Trump doesn't believe in exercise. He believes it steals your life force. So by exercising, you're just killing yourself faster.
That we did at the request of some very good people, very, very fine people from
at least
actually from numerous places. As you know, there are a lot of people involved, but from Pakistan in particular, the field marshal and the prime minister. And we're very close to having a deal. And if we don't have a deal, we'll do it one way or the other. Either way, we win.
I do want to talk about the terms of any potential deal in just a moment, but let me just follow up with you. You did post on social media just this week, my final negotiations to end the war with the Islamic Republic of Iran. There is a naval blockade in place, which technically is an act of war under international law. So is this a war as long as there's a naval blockade in place?
Well, we have a blockade. It's been extremely effective. And the reason we have it is they try to blockade, and now we blockaded them. And as you know, they're losing $400 to $500 million a day. It's not sustainable for them. They have an economy that's shot in addition to everything else. Their leaders are gone. Their generals are gone. Their first tier and second tier are gone. Much of their third tier is gone. But they put up a blockade, and so we blockaded them, and we have the ultimate blockade.
Yeah, we blockaded their blockade. Such a smart move.
I don't consider that a war, but if you want to define it as such, I guess you can.
Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards.
I don't define it at all. I don't think about it. I just do what I have to do.
He doesn't think about it. He just do what he has to do. Just
open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards.
But if you're not specifically calling it a war, would you consider sending some of the troops who are stationed there, who were sent because of Operation Epic Fury there home? No, would you consider sending them home if it's not technically a war?
We don't need as many troops. I think it's on the to err on the side of caution. We have a lot of people there. They're very safe. If you think we beat Venezuela, we lost nobody. We took over the whole country. We lost nobody. We have a great relationship, by the way, with Venezuela. Venezuela is doing very well, but we lost nobody. We've lost 13 people here, and that's a lot. 13 people too many. But if you look at Vietnam, where hundreds of thousands of people were killed, if you look at
Vietnam, like the war he dodged. That war? The war he had bone spurs for? That one?
Any one of the last 7 or 8 wars where many, many people were killed, we lost 13. And again, 13 is too many. I don't want to lose any. But 13 is less than anybody's ever even envisioned. I think we're doing a great job.
But so are you saying you would consider sending some of the troops home, sir? Some of the 50,000 troops who were sent there as a part of Operation Epic Fury?
This, it costs us very little to keep them there. I don't consider them in danger.
It doesn't cost very little
anyone's ever seen.
50,000 people. Did I complain when Biden or Clinton dodged the draft? Yes.
We have the best offense anyone's ever seen, so I don't consider it danger. I would say it would be foolhardy to do that because maybe we may use them. It's unlikely, but I think we'll keep them there until such time as we have a completion. And when we have a completion, you will see things like you've never.
How do you know? Prove me wrong.
Seen the oil will go down. The stock market already, as you know, it's hit an all-time high. Even in the midst of it, it hit all-time highs. We had 73 all-time highs in a short period of time that I've been in office, which is a record, by the way. And, we're doing very well. But the main thing is we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Can't do it.
What is
and we won't do it.
Yeah, you just referenced the 13 Americans who were killed, and I want to know what your red line is. What would trigger you to restart military action? Would it be Iran killing more American citizens?
Well, certainly that would be something that I would think about very seriously. But my red line would be if I think I wasn't going to make a deal, or if I wasn't going to make a deal fast enough. So we're having very good negotiations with the people that are leading the country now. It's the third group that we've been dealing.
They're not having negotiations. Iran said there are no negotiations. They stopped talking to the U.S. Every time Trump says that there are negotiations happening, it's because he wants to manipulate the market. He wants to manipulate the market into doing what he wants. He said it every week for like the last month. Oh, negotiations are happening. Oh, negotiations are happening. They're not. Iran has said that they're not.
With, and they are different. And you could say it's regime change, actually, because these are very different people. I find them to be more rational. Very smart.
Who is that? Who's leading
well,
the
I don't
country?
want to go into names, but you know who they are. I mean, they're leaders.
He has no idea who's leading the country.
Respected by the people that have to respect them. They are calling the shots. We know that because we see it through various tests that we've given. It's a little bit strange because you have leaders that have been there for a long time and they get wiped out. Then you have leaders that you also know, the second tier, and they get wiped out. All of a sudden, we're dealing with different people.
Yeah. Monday and Friday are money days for the market. That's when Trump puts out his bullshit that there's negotiations happening. Oh, we're so close to a deal. We've been so close to a deal for like a month. And the other day, Iran and America were shooting at each other. So he doesn't know anything. He just doesn't. He's just spouting bullshit. His brain is rotting inside his head.
But no, I think that we'll either have something done fairly quickly or we'll finish it out militarily.
Are you talking about the son of the supreme
he's a
leader?
part of it, yes.
He has not been seen in public. What is his
but
status? Have you talked to him directly?
I do believe they have great respect for him. I see it. I mean, they want to get his concurrence. They've said to me, they've said to others.
Yeah, this is pushing back on Trump's claim about all the all-time highs he's gotten. The stock market has hit all-time highs during every presidency for like 15 years or 50 years. Yeah, he's claiming that as a win. The value of the stock market is not entirely related to the actual economy. It's just not. You can brag about the stock market all you want, but at this point, it's basically run by AI. Like, it's propped up and inflated by all these AI companies trading into each other and investing into each other. And his fucking crypto schemes. There was a thing I saw on CNBC today that Trump's family has made like $500 million from all of his fucking crypto schemes while all of his investors have lost money. It's just a wealth transfer from everyone else to him.
They're looking for approval, and he is part of the approval process, absolutely.
Have you spoken to him directly? You
I
said
have
you
not.
want to meet with him.
No, I have not. I would if he'd like to, but I have not spoken to him directly.
Do you know where he is?
I will tell you, they
how
do,
he is?
Yeah. They do pay homage to him. I would tell you if they didn't. They seem to, based on what I see, they seem to respect him a great deal.
Do you know where he is? Do you know how he is doing physically?
I don't want to say whether or not I
does
know
not.
where he is.
He doesn't. He has no
There's
idea.
a good probability that I do.
Is he inside Iran?
I'd rather not say that.
I do.
Okay, he is the son of the last supreme leader, who was obviously a hardliner. Is this younger Khomeini any better for the United States than his father was?
Younger, I think more rational, injured. He's pretty badly injured. So there's a certain bravery there. A lot of people, if they were injured that badly, they wouldn't be talking about, how we doing with the United States. They'd have other things.
I don't know where he's going with all this.
So there's a certain bravery there, but he is very seriously injured. Yeah.
What is the status of talks exactly in this moment? How close are you to making a deal? Are we talking about days, weeks, months, Mr. President?
I think we're very close. We have a couple of points. They don't even seem like big points. They've conceded the fact that they will not have nuclear weapons.
They have
we
not.
Had a clause in there that we will not develop nuclear weapons, and everybody was very happy with it.
They had
except
that
me. And I
already.
said, well, what happens if they not develop, but they go out and purchase, they acquire? I want to put the word, if they buy or purchase or acquire,
Great word. I made it up.
because
Purchase.
that's not developing. So they don't have the right to
Just
develop
made it
or
up right now.
purchase, acquire, or buy.
Have they pushed back against that? Is that
I'll
one of
mean
the
the same
sticking
A little
points?
bit, and then they didn't.
Okay. You have been saying for months, Mr. President, that Iran is begging to make a deal.
True.
They are so desperate to make.
Oh yes, I am live early today. This will probably happen again on Thursday. We'll be starting an hour, at least for the next week. I'll be starting an hour early because I have obligations that I have to attend to. So we'll go back to the normal time probably around the end of the month, I think.
A deal. Why haven't they made a deal with you yet?
Because it's a very hard thing for them. They've had great independence. They've dealt with very weak and ineffective leadership on behalf of the United States and other countries, frankly, that allowed them to get away with murder. And I think they can't believe they're in the situation where they've been virtually decapitated.
But if they're so desperate, Mr. President, why haven't they said yes to the terms you're
they're
proposing?
strong, they're proud. There are things they never thought they'd be doing that they're going to have to do. They've got no choice.
Ooh.
And
Gina with almost 2 British pounds in the super chat. A couple of quid.
it takes a little while. You're talking about 47 years of getting away with whatever they wanted. I mean, this should have been done long ago. This should have been done by other presidents or other countries. It doesn't have to be us.
It was
other
done by
countries.
other presidents.
But they were very close to having a nuclear weapon twice.
They
That
didn't
was
go to
when I
war.
terminated
Except they
the
didn't go
Iran
to war,
agreement,
Trump.
which
Except they didn't go to war. They made a deal that you got rid of for them to not develop nuclear weapons. And guess what they weren't doing? Developing nuclear weapons. But you were like, oh no, we got to go to war with them after I canceled the deal that we made.
was a path. That deal, the JCPOA, that deal was tantamount to giving them a nuclear weapon. It was a horrible deal given by Barack Obama and really penned by him. It was a horrible deal. It was, it expired long ago. I terminated it. But had I not terminated it, it expired long ago. It was a short-term deal.
At least for now.
It was a road to a nuclear weapon. They would have had a nuclear weapon 5 years ago.
But Mr. President, I'm curious because when you were campaigning, you said you would rip up the Iran nuclear deal, but negotiate a better deal.
That's
Why
what I'm
didn't you
doing.
negotiate a better deal at the time? Because after it was
What is this? McKinnon says, get ready for Tim and my own D&D campaign. 2 men who disagree on just about everything except for one. Some people need to get got. They are gas station clerks tasked with saving the world. That sounds hilarious, McKinnon. Then how did they get 60% rich uranium? They did their own inspections. Their own government representative said that's exactly what they were doing. All right. I mean, you guys want to believe the lies. You guys want to believe the fucking cope.
was ripped up, there weren't guardrails, and they escalated their
Excuse
production
me.
of enriched uranium.
Excuse me. It takes years to do these things. These people have been fighting for 47 years. They've been killing Americans. They've been taking off their legs and their arm, and their faces have been hurt so badly and so horribly. I'm moving very fast. I'm into 3 months. Vietnam lasted 19 years. I'm into my 3rd month, and all I do is say, "Whoa, when are you going to win?" If I were a Democrat, nobody would be talking that way, but it
Yes,
doesn't
they
matter.
would.
They've gotten so used to it. Look,
If it was no matter who it was, after running a presidential campaign where you promised 0 new wars and you started a war with another country for literally no reason, why would you have a 3-month war then? That doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. You promised it, bro. Also, that's a great screen cap right there. It's going. There we go.
We have totally destroyed their military. They have some missiles left. They have some drones left.
Do you know how many missiles?
Yes, exactly.
How many?
I don't want to tell you.
Can you give me a
But
ballpark?
they have some left.
He doesn't know.
But
He doesn't
I
know.
almost to the number. And we know where they are, too. And we know where their drones are. And we know where their drone factories are. Most of the drone factories have been knocked out. Most of the launching pads have been knocked out. And most of the missile manufacturing areas have been knocked out. But they still
Why
have
are they
capacity.
still shooting missiles?
They have some missiles. They have some drones. I would say percentage-wise, maybe 21, 22% of their missiles. It's a lot of missiles, but it's not what it was when we first attacked.
So you're saying they have 21, 22% of their missiles left?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about what specifically you are demanding as a part of this short-term deal. Will the United States agree to a deal with Iran that doesn't explicitly and immediately give up its nuclear enrichment program on the front end?
Well, depending on when you say immediately, look, it is buried under mountains because our B-2s were incredible. The pilots of our B-2s were unbelievable. And it's buried. They can't get it. The only two countries that could take it, that have the equipment to take, you have to understand, 3 mountains have fallen in on them, right? So you understand that, because the fake news was going around saying, oh, maybe they didn't hit their target. 1 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, no moon, no nothing. And every one of those bombs went right down those chutes and blew up. They can't get it no matter what. I mean, they can get it, I guess, with years of work. But the only 2 countries that can get it are us and China, because we're the only 2 with the equipment that's capable of.
I think there's a few more countries in the world capable of doing that than just us and China. Is he going to give the nukes to Xi Jinping? Is that what he's going to do? He's going to give all that nuclear material to China? I think he's playing his cards there.
Doing that kind of work. And it would take weeks of digging. So the answer is, yeah, we're going to do it immediately. We're going to start looking very quickly, and we'll do it with them. If we make a deal, we'll do it with them. No, we're going to do it with the Iranians.
With China.
If we make a deal, that means we'll be friendly. We'll do it with the Iranians. If we don't make a deal, we may do it, or we may just watch it. We have cameras on it all over it. If anybody walked there, if you walked over there, I would be able to read your first name on your lapel. And these are cameras up in space. It's pretty amazing technology. Space
cameras up in space. Yep, that's 100% Trump.
We have cameras all over the site. We know if anybody goes there. If anybody went there, any digging mechanism, any truck, any tractors, anything, anybody went there, we would know. We will take care of it. Is that wind or what?
Is that rain?
What is that?
Rain. This would be the first of
President of the United States, spooked by rain.
multiple interruptions due to the weather. Rain hitting the metal roof, making it difficult for both of us to hear each other. So as we're having this conversation...
NBC News, why? Why did you have to do this under a metal roof? Did you not look at the weather for the day? What's going on here? I blame the producers. I blame the producers of NBC News and Meet the Press for doing this in such a terrible location.
We can hear a little bit of rain.
No, a lot of rain.
A lot of rain. Let me
you are
try
making
to
the president
get a
look
clear understanding
bad.
of how the United States would get the nuclear material out. You've called it nuclear dust.
Yeah.
Will you and would you be open to sending in U.S. forces to retrieve the nuclear stockpile?
So the official name is highly enriched uranium. And I call it nuclear dust because it seemed to be nice and everyone understands it better and it's sort of cute and people picked it up.
Yeah, he made up a name for it. He made up a name for it.
If we make a deal, now we're friendly, we'll all go together.
The weather reporter lied to
It'll be
them.
our equipment. We'll take it out and destroy it, whether it's on site or whether we take it off site.
So that would require U.S. forces.
Well, that will require, we will have a deal. We'll be friendly. In other words, we will have made a deal. And we will be at peace. And we will go with them or without them. But we won't have people shooting at us, okay? Now, if we don't make a deal, then we're going to take them out militarily, very harshly. And we'll wait till we do that before we go. in which case we'll have safety either way.
Mr. President, I wonder, how long are you willing to give Iran to make a deal? How much longer? You've been
Great question. How much longer is this going to last, Mr. President?
talking for
Well, I
quite
wouldn't
some
say
time.
that. Well, you really haven't. You were in Vietnam for 19 years. You were in Iraq for many years. You were in Korea for
Oh, is he saying this could last as long as 19 years? As long as it's just slightly shorter than 19 years, it's fine with him. Because it's a slightly shorter war than Vietnam and a slightly shorter war than Iraq and Afghanistan. Doesn't he see how fucking crazy that is? All that shit was quagmires. All that shit was unnecessary. We lost the Vietnam War. And we didn't do that well in Iraq or Afghanistan either. Ooh, 5 British pounds from Viper Scott. New Civics Corner. What we were talking about. Al, you're going to, Viper Scott, you're going to have to remind me what we were talking about for the Civics Corner.
many years.
I
I
got some
don't
ideas.
even talk about World War II because that was the big one, and we don't want to ever have that. But you were in all these different wars for many years with thousands and thousands of people killed. We've had 13 people killed.
Yes,
which I hate.
100%.
We've had 13 people killed, and that includes 2 wars. That's Venezuela, and that's Iran.
But do you have a cutoff
No,
point
but you
in
keep
your
talking
head?
about speed, Kristen. You were in Vietnam for 19 years, and you're telling me about 3 months. And in 3
Right. So his argument against ending the war now is, well, look how long the Vietnam War lasted. It lasted what, like 3 or 4 presidencies? Iraq was 20 years, Afghanistan was 20 years. We want to make sure that we get our, more bang for our buck here. We got to get it out at least a decade, right, Mr. President?
3 months, I've demolished the Navy, the Air Force, anti-aircraft. They have no radar. They have no nothing. I demolished their leaders. Their leaders are gone.
Do you know where all of Iran's nuclear material is?
Yes.
I guess the point here is every day that this war goes on is one more day than the president promised that there would be no wars. It's gone on for 3 months now. He promised no new wars. In fact, that was a signature part of his campaign, was that he would be the peace president and there wouldn't be any new wars. And now we're in one, and it's been 3 months, and everyone's wondering, why? Why, Mr. President? Is there a 3-month war going on when you promised no new wars?
Would you unfreeze any Iranian assets or lift any sanctions up front as a part of any
No.
deal? So that would come after.
Comes after, yeah. If
They
behave,
turned
if they do
over
a good
their
job, we
nuclear
start
enrichment.
talking, yeah.
McKinnon. McKinnon wants a Civics Corner about a dragon trapped in a bottle that has taken over the mind of the president. Nuclear annihilation is imminent, but our gas station clerks are destined to save the day. Here we go. Oh, it's not like it's a real war. Really? What's a real war? Is this a fake war? Like fake news? Trump is a fucking idiot, but not a lot of bright stars in the U.S. political class. That's so true. Apparently, he said he was going to stop Iran since before his first term, but doesn't that contradict his other promise of no new wars? Ooh, Trump news. Trump claims U.S. fuel prices not very high as costs surge amid Iran war. That is true. He continues to claim that gas prices are all the way down. And they are not. They're a little down. They are, I would say on average, like 40 cents down from the peak? But they are not back down to where they were before the war. Not by a long shot. They're still at least $1 higher than they were before the war, depending on where you live. It could be $1, it could be $2, Some places still have like $5, $6 a gallon gasoline. And we're talking like regular, unleaded, not premium. My gasoline in my neck of the woods is $4.25, which is a full $1.50 higher than it was before the war started.
Material.
Unlike Obama. Obama flew a Boeing 757, a plane I know very well. They took the seats out and they loaded it up with $1.7 billion in cash.
Very much so.
From the banks in Maryland and Virginia and D.C. They emptied out the banks.
Oh,
and they
holy shit. Not Trump. Viper Scott with the 20 gifted memberships. Holy crap. Hold on. Incoming memberships. Hey, like and subscribe so you can get a membership from Viper Scott. Oh my God, there's so many. Oh my God. I'm not going to be able to do sound effects for each and every one. So I'm just going to play one. Bam, for Viper Scott. Also,
I did this. Why can't you?
Also,
I'm full, but I can't pass up this great opportunity.
Well, how much?
Also,
Democrats are revved up.
And
New achievement.
all right, hold on. Pause everything. Hold the phone. Here we go. The following people now have gifted bin podcast memberships. Thank you to Viper Scott, who basically owns the show at this point. The following people who receive memberships are Zen Scout, Young C, Don Peepo, Paul Condren, JC, Instant Mash, Secular Rarity, Blue Cat, Miss Non Sequitur, hilarious name, Cat X, Regios, Joy Freakus, Peter M, Wayne Lewis, Aaron Burns, TV Tube Me, Lee Korn, How Am I Looking? And Class Time with Cal. Congratulations on your new bin podcast memberships. Thanks to Ali. Like and subscribe to get more. You can be the lucky winner next time. Because you get stuff with the membership, so you should become a member anyway. But you get cool emoticons, like little pictures of everyone's dogs from the show. Where's my dog? He's laying down. And you also get members only videos and exclusive stuff. So go there now if you haven't already, and like and subscribe. I got one more clip. Let's see. And do what this man says.
It's Charlie Angus here from Midas Canada, the Resistance Tour, and I watch the Bin Podcast Network. You got to watch it. Sign up, follow them.
Friend of the show, Canadian politician, Charlie Angus. Now, where the fuck was I? We do badly need some bagpipes on the soundboard. This evening's Bin Podcast brought to you with support of Viper Scott. That's right. From viewers like you. Anyway, back to this fucking guy.
Gave them 1.7 in green, and they gave them tens of billions of dollars, just kept giving them money, and it didn't work.
Would any, again,
That never works,
But
by the
again,
way.
Mr. President, you promised that you were going to negotiate a better deal. Do you
I
wish
have.
you'd done it in your first term when you ripped it up at that, before you ripped
No,
up
they
the
weren't
deal?
ready. No, this is much better. This is much better.
Will
If I
you-
would have done it in my first term, Israel wouldn't have been ready. Hear that sound? That sound? Thunder, lightning.
Oh my God.
Is that going
rain?
to interrupt, guys?
No.
Okay.
People will.
Trump, stop being so distracted by the weather. Have you ever been outside before?
We're on a farm.
That's true. Will any deal you make include the release of Americans who are being held by Iran?
Well, we talk about it, and we'll see. Nobody really has an accurate list of who they are, what they are, or if they're being held. But if they're, we've been talking about it. Nobody really has a list. You know that, right?
That is hard, Rain.
You know, you're asking me about. Nobody has a list.
But are you demanding a list? Are you demanding to know and saying they've got to
you're
come
supposed
home?
to give me the list. I mean, do you know people that we're talking about? If you give me the names, I'll do my best to get them
Well,
out.
I don't think that's been reported.
Huh?
I don't think it's all of the people who've been held.
All I'm saying is this.
known.
If you have a list of names, give them to me and I will get them
But is
out.
it something you talk to them about?
We talk about people if they have them, but nobody knows who they are. Just like you don't know who they are.
You have openly said you've been frustrated by Israel's continued bombing of Lebanon. Are you and Prime Minister Netanyahu on the same page?
Yeah, we are.
No, they're not. I think the last 48 hours has proved that they're not. And they're very frustrated with each other.
We get along very well. We've been great comrades.
Well, they get along as far as like Netanyahu was like, hey, do you want to do this war with me? And Trump was like, yeah, let's do this war.
Did a very, very big number on a certain country that was nothing but trouble for 47 years. I disagree with him on a couple of things.
On Lebanon?
I'd like to see Lebanon have a better life. I'd like to see a more surgical attack on Hezbollah. I think it should be more surgical.
The Dark Lord Greg says, what the fuck? How bad is U.S. intelligence when he has to ask reporters randomly for names? With a 37% approval rating, he isn't even in touch with most Americans. That is so true. Like and subscribe.
And we can...
37% is pretty generous, too. I think his latest numbers are worse than that. I think he's down to like 30. Yeah, right. That's what he loves that. He loves rage baiting reporters into fucking being frustrated with him or asking him questions. And then we're like, you're stupid. Why would you ask that question? Your news is fake.
Help them with that, or we can recommend Syria. Syria is doing a very good job of cleaning up their act. They have a very good leader. They have a leader that's really done a good job in a short period of time, and he would love to help.
Yeah, 32%, I think, is his
demanding
average.
that Lebanon be a part of the short-term deal that you're
not at all.
negotiating?
I'm not demanding.
Okay.
I think they'd like to see it, but I'm not demanding.
Okay. I wonder if we should, let me just get a gut check here. Should we pause for 5 minutes and let this
Yeah,
happen?
because the sound engineer can't do anymore. Please stop while it's raining. Yeah, it's bad. It's all-time highs even for Trump, or I guess lows. I guess all-time highs if you're talking about disapproval, but it's all-time lows even for Trump. Like, we could pull up a graph later where you see Trump's first term and Trump's second term and where his approval ratings are, and they cratered fast this time, like super fast. He didn't have approval ratings this low until the end of his term.
I just want to be able to hear everything he says. The rain did not stop, but neither did our interview. When we come back, President Trump on his promise.
They're crazy people. I deal with them. And
You will not stop the commercial breaks.
Really crazy. And get along with them. I like them. But you don't want to let them have a nuclear weapon. And I'm doing the world a service, but I'm doing our country a service. It's America first. I'm doing our country a service. Nice rain.
It is rain.
NBC, you picked a bad day to do this. You had to have known it was going to rain. Yeah, no, the interview did stop when Trump crashed out. We're getting there. I didn't really want to skip any parts, but the rain is kind of distracting for everyone.
Progressive.
No,
There we
I'm
go.
just a journalist.
We were a dead country. A year ago, a couple of years ago, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And at the all-time hottest point, which is probably now, believe it or not. You're just...
Bro, get over yourself. Look at the channel. It existed when Biden was president. We made fun of Biden all the fucking time. Get the fuck out of here. Also, like and subscribe.
Had all brand new stock market records today. But at the
Look how
hottest
old our
point
channel
in the
is.
history of our country, I took Scott, Howard, I took Pete, I took everybody into a room. I said,
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Rain is one thing, but they choose to do this interview in a metal building. That's the worst possible place to do it. You have a metal roof. And even if you didn't know it was going to rain, if it did rain, it was going to be loud as fuck. They just wanted to have like a cutesy farm background. Just do it in a studio, Christ.
I have to do this country, this world, the Middle East, Israel, everybody a favor. You have Iran. They're going to have a nuclear weapon. Barack Hussein Obama signed the JCPOA. It was a hard.
All right. I don't normally say this, but mods, clear some of this riffraff out. We got a lot of riffraff in the chat right now.
Horrible deal. Horrible deal. Listen to me. It was a horrible deal. It was a path to them getting a nuclear weapon. They were very close to having a nuclear weapon. I terminated the deal.
Well, maybe you should look at the history
Then
of
I
the
sent
channel
the
then. Like
B-2 bombers in
subscribe.
about 9-10 months ago, and they totally obliterated the site, and I saved it. We had a choice. We could let them have a nuclear weapon, or we could go along and have some beautiful days. But they would have, it's a judgment. They would have used the nuclear weapon. And you know what? When people hear that whole scenario, when they hear me say Iran was going to have a nuclear weapon, and they're crazy, they say you're doing the right thing. I don't think it's I mean, you'll do polls because they're all
It is
fake polls,
unpopular.
especially yours.
It's an 80-20
But
issue,
you
and you're
do
on the wrong
polls.
end of it.
I just won a big election.
You
And
didn't.
the reason I won an election is people have confidence in me. I have good
The
judgment.
reason you won that election is because you promised no new wars. That is one of the reasons you won the election. And guess what? You're in a war that you started for no reason.
I had to make a judgment. Do I want to go along and have a country that's doing really well, but somebody is going to try and kill us? Or do I want to put out that horrible threat? And I did. I put it out. I put it out for many, many years. Now I'm going to put it out permanently. I'm going to do it either through negotiation, where we're very close to a deal, or I'm going to blow the hell out of them, to be honest with you. And it's going to be very easy for me to do. That's actually the easier path. So when you say I promised, I didn't promise anything. I don't like these endless wars. This is not an endless war. We've been doing this.
Okay. All right. So this is the point in the interview where he starts getting testy with the reporter. However, I would like to bring us all back to earlier in the interview. Not actually. I don't want to watch it again. But he said, what are you talking about? This war's only been going on for 3 months. If you look at Vietnam, Vietnam went on for 19 years, so I got plenty of time. Now he's saying this is not an endless war. So sometime between 3 months and 19 years, he's going to end this war, right? I mean, he's not going to be president in a couple of years, regardless of what happens. But is he ending the war before he stops being president? That's the real question I want to know. That's the real question that Kristen Welker should ask him. Mr. President, are you ending this war before your term is up? Or is someone else going to have to clean up your shit? Because it really seems like he doesn't care.
For 3 months, much of it has been under the form, a pretty good form of ceasefire. The blockade has been amazing. Our Navy is amazing. Our military is the best in the world. Hey, we took over a very powerful country, Venezuela, a lot of soldiers, big, strong military. We took over Venezuela in a matter of minutes.
Oh my God. Moses Satori in the chat. Vietnam was only 3 months old when we were 3 months into it. That's the dumbest argument to keep repeating. Right. This is how long the Vietnam War lasted. And he said that he'll make it shorter than that. So 19 years, 5 months, and 28 days, maybe.
We destroyed the capability of Iran in a matter of days. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Dude,
Now,
have you seen Trump lately? He can't make it upstairs. He can't even stand for long periods of time anymore. Why is he always sitting at his desk in the Oval Office? He used to be able to stand. He can't anymore. McKinnon says, I absolutely could see him keeping the war going until the end of his presidency because it's keeping the focus of the media on it and not Epstein. Dude is happy to help to keep this going.
I'm going to finish it. But remember, you were in Vietnam 19 years because stupid people You were in so many different countries. Every war you were in for years. Look at Iraq. Look what you were. You were there for years. We're there for, listen, Kirsten, we're there for a few months, and the threat is largely over. Soon it will be over. But you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, or they will blow you up. There will be no.
I have to say that once again, we're not defending Joe Biden on this channel. Fuck Joe Biden, all right? That dude shouldn't have been president either. I am making a case for neither one of these guys should be president. Not Joe Biden, not Donald Trump. They're too old. Donald Trump is clearly losing his fucking brain. Joe Biden couldn't make it through his reelection campaign because his brain was slowing down. Both of these guys are too old. They were too old then. They're too old now.
Oh, Kristen, there will be no NBC. There will be no Meet the Press. You will end the Meet the Press string.
Let me ask you, though, during your 2016 campaign, you called the Middle East a quagmire. What makes you so sure this won't become a quagmire?
We're not going to be there.
You're convinced this won't become a quagmire?
To begin with.
I just wiped out the military.
We need an age limit for president. 35 is the youngest you can be. Let's make, like, I don't know, 65, retirement age. Whatever retirement age is, 65, 67, that's the oldest you can be to be president. Let's stop messing around, guys. These fucking old motherfuckers ain't doing it. They're bad.
A very dangerous country, and I wiped out the nuclear threat. Let me tell you, if we left tomorrow, if we just said, all right, let's get out, it'll take them 15 or 20 years to rebuild back. But I'm not going to give them even that chance. I'm not going to give them that chance. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if there was even a 1% chance that they'd have it, I wouldn't leave. We're almost finished. We're going to either have a deal, a strong deal, a meaningful deal, not like the Obama thing. Obama was a path to a nuclear weapon. Mine is the exact opposite. And mine is a wall. It's a wall, just like I built 1,000 miles of wall on our southern border. And by the way, I took the worst border in history and I made it the best border in history in a matter of weeks.
And yet, Mr. President, Iran was the closest to developing weapons-grade uranium after you ripped up the nuclear deal because there were no guardrails in place.
They were developing it during the nuclear deal.
Yeah.
You don't know that? Iran, when Obama signed that stupid deal where he paid them billions and billions of dollars, he thought he could.
By the way, Obama didn't pay them anything. It was their own money that he unfroze.
Bribe them. Listen to me. They were developing a nuclear weapon. That's how they got there. They got all of this uranium during Obama. You know that, don't you?
They already had the uranium. They didn't get it during Obama. They already had it. They got it from Russia or wherever. Obama didn't give it to them. And they made a deal to not enrich it. They just wanted to have nuclear power plants. And as Mikey has explained several times on this show, Iran's supreme leader said that they would not build nuclear weapons because it was against their religion.
They got there. Don't say this. They got there. They developed it during the Barack Hussein Obama, during his administration.
And they've escalated their development after the deal was wrapped up. Let's talk about the economy. I want to talk about the economy.
If I didn't go in there with the B-2 bombers, they would right now have a nuclear weapon, and it could be that half of the world would be eradicated.
Let me ask you about the economy.
And by the way, that deal with Iran that Obama got took years. It took the Secretary of State negotiating nonstop for a month. And then it took people before that years to come up with the framework for that deal. And then Trump blew it up for no reason, only for him to eventually he's going to get the same deal. This guy is going to get the same deal and claim he did it better when he was already going to get a better deal before the day before he started bombing Iran. We played it many times on this show. The negotiator from Oman said that we have a framework for a deal in progress. Iran's going to give him what he wants and we'll have a deal. The very next day, he started bombing the country. He doesn't care about a deal. He just wants to extend this.
You got a strong jobs report today that beat expectations.
Not strong. Really strong.
Beat expectations.
By how much? Triple.
176,000 jobs created. And yet, gas is up, diesel is up.
It's all coming down as soon as the war's over.
Well, 70% of farmers say they
When
can't
is that
afford
going to be?
fertilizer.
Wait, Mr. President, when's that going to be? When's the war ending so the gas can go down?
Farmers are doing very well.
Let me ask you, what is your message to farmers, many who support you, but who say
All of
they're
them
struggling?
support me.
Who say
Because
they're
there's
struggling?
nobody been better to farm. You know, I gave farmers last term $28 billion because China took advantage and other people.
No, because you
You know,
cost
they
them money,
fought
bro.
China last term. You know, I had a great first term. I had the greatest economy ever. And you know what?
Did not.
This one's blowing it away.
What's your message?
Does he ever forget the second half of his first term, like completely? Does he forget everything that happened there?
To farmers, though, Mr. President, who say they are struggling, they're struggling to make
Are
ends
you ready?
meet.
Are you ready? Am I allowed to talk? You keep asking questions and you don't listen
He's
to the
getting
answers.
pissy.
I love the farmers, and the farmers love me, and the farmers trust me. In the first term, I had something very similar. China and others were, and Canada, which was brutal, they were taking advantage of our farmers. They don't take advantage of it anymore. I gave them $28 billion split up. They never had a payday like that. And the farmers
Didn't go
loved
to
me.
them.
They came back and they
By the way, the money didn't go to them. The money didn't go to the farmers. We played, I don't know how many videos on this channel about the agriculture industry and how it all works. The money went to equipment manufacturers and the money went to the people who provide them fertilizer and seed, because those are the people that they had to pay. Those are the people they had outstanding bills to. Very little of that money actually made it to farmers. It all went to the people who provide them the resources they need to farm. They didn't see that much of it. In fact, they barely saw any of it. He was bailing them out because they were so badly in debt. It's not a payday. It's a bailout.
voted for me in record numbers. You know that. Nobody's ever even come close. Now, because of the fact that we had a choice, I had a choice to make. I could keep it going. The farmers were doing great. Fertilizer was very cheap. Everything was cheap. Gasoline was very low. Everything was very low. I could have kept it that way, but I said I have to take a little bit of a turn. The farmer's going to understand it better than anybody.
Here, McKinnon says that he is in one of the most backwards, diehard, MAGA-infested places in the country, and these farmers around here fucking hate Trump. Like genuine rage about their vote. Yeah, they got buyer's remorse because they got fucked over again.
We're going to have higher gasoline. We're going to have a little higher fertilizer, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to get rid of a nuclear weapon in the hands of very dangerous people. Excuse me, wait. It should have been done for 47 years. No president had the guts to do it. I did it, and I've done it. It's almost complete. As soon as that's complete, gasoline prices are going to drop like a rock. You know, I was in Iowa speaking about farms, and it was before we attacked.
He doesn't understand how the market on fuel works. The contracts for fuel are by the month. So even if the war were to end today and the price of gasoline were to drop $1, the price for the month of June and possibly the month of July has already been fixed. I think the contracts happen on the 15th of every month. So it's going to be months for the fuel economy to unfuck itself. And we've talked to people on this show, economists who know, who say that it would be at a minimum of 3 months before fuel prices even start to return to normal, at a maximum of a year, because all that oil has to be transported somewhere. All the oil that's stuck in the strait has to move, and those ships don't move instantly. And manufacturing of oil or pumping of oil has been stopped in a lot of these countries because they have nowhere to put it. So they have to ramp up production again. It is an entire infrastructure that has to be restarted, that the president has halted. So no, oil prices will not go down immediately. Gas prices will not go down immediately. You will see, I don't know, maybe 20 cents here or there, but going back to pre-war levels is going to take upwards of a year. And it's his fault.
Iran. And I was in Iowa, and the prices were $1.85 a gallon, $1.91 a gallon. What?
This time, it wasn't the rain, but an audio issue that forced us to pause the interview
NBC,
again.
that's your fault.
Are
NBC, that's your fault. Stop it.
gas prices going higher, or have they peaked?
They're going to come low, very low. They're going to go lower than they were before.
Have they peaked?
As soon, Well, it depends. I mean, it depends.
He doesn't know. He has no idea.
It could be I'll have to give them a shot, and it could be we'll sign an agreement. If we sign an agreement, they'll go down now. Otherwise, they'll go down after we're finished.
You have a new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh.
Yeah.
His first meeting in the role is later this month. After this month's jobs report, economists now say it's possible the Fed may have to raise rates. Do you think that's possible? And what would your reaction be, sir?
So I'm of a different feeling. I think Kevin's fantastic, and I want him to do whatever he wants. I don't want to have a big influence on him. But we had a great report. We're doing great. And it's unfair that whenever you do great, they want to raise interest rates. It should be the opposite way. You know, if you go back 15 or 20 years, when you had good reports, the market went up. Nowadays, when you have good reports, the market goes down because they think.
He doesn't understand how quantitative easing works. He doesn't understand how the jobs economy affects interest rates and how unemployment affects interest rates. It's not jobs do good, keep interest rates down. That would tank the economy. The problem he doesn't understand is that raising interest rates is a way for the market to steady unemployment. They don't want low unemployment. We're already almost at full unemployment. We're at like 4.5% or whatever it is. If they were to drop the interest rate because of good jobs reports, then you would have bad jobs reports in the future. And you would have an overheated economy, which is what Trump started with, which is why his 2025 was so fucked up. And that's why his own appointed Fed chair, Jerome Powell, who he appointed, refused to lower interest rates because they had to stabilize the job market and they had to stabilize inflation. That's not how monetary policy works, Trump. You're an idiot.
They're going to raise interest rates. There's no reason to raise interest rates. The country becomes great. We built a country.
This dumb motherfucker right here wanted to have negative interest rates. He wanted to have negative interest rates. So banks would take your money for storing money in the banks. That's what he wanted because he's dumb.
By doing great and having rates low. What they do is when they raise interest rates, they try and kill success. I don't want to kill success. We should actually lower interest rates. Now, if inflation comes, and you know, people live with inflation, but if inflation comes, what happens is you stamp it out. But success can kill
That's how
inflation,
you stamp it out,
just
Trump.
like higher interest rates. What they do now.
That's how you stamp out inflation, Trump, is by raising interest rates. Because it forces banks to stop lending. And it forces companies to stop spending.
Is like we had great job numbers. You agree, right?
They beat expectations.
Not
For a month.
expectations, like 3 times. Okay. But you ready?
For a month.
What do? They say, oh, let's raise interest rates. It's
Yes.
the wrong thing to do. I would
It's
like
the
to
right
see rates
thing.
get lower because
Idiot.
we could build this into.
Doesn't he have economists that work for him that can tell him this shit? Where is fucking, what's his name? Lutnick. Where the fuck is that guy? Or Bessent? Where are these guys? They're supposed to be telling the president what the right thing to do is.
The greatest machine that the world has ever seen. But you can't do that when everybody immediately raises interest rates. So we had great job numbers. We're doing great. You know, we're building more factories. We have more money coming into our country right now from other countries and people than ever before. Wait a minute. What happens? I don't want to just kill it with high interest rates. Growth is the greatest thing you can have. And growth.
You cannot have unlimited exponential growth. It is impossible. At some point, growth is going to stop. And that's something that the president doesn't understand. He just doesn't. At some point, growth is going to stop. The stock market's going to come down. And there's going to be problems, which is why they're trying to manage inflation now rather than later. And he just doesn't understand.
Growth does not cause inflation.
Would you be upset if they raised rates? What is your
perhaps.
message to them about that?
Living with Kevin, I have a lot of respect for him. But my feeling is that when a country is doing well, they shouldn't be penalized by immediately raising interest rates. They should actually be incentivized
By the way, interest rates are good for people who put money in banks because you get some money back, right? You get a little bit extra. And interest rates are not so good for people taking out loans. And that's Trump's problem, is he's got a history of taking out and defaulting on loans. So his anger with interest rates, I think, is a personal thing because he's always taking out loans because he was fucking bankrupt so many times. He just doesn't understand. He's like, loans bad, interest rates bad. We shouldn't raise interest rates because then I have to pay more money on my loans.
We have debt. We have other things. We have things we want to take care of. I want to go bigger on the military. I really do. If we do what I'm saying, this will be a beautiful, well-oiled machine like you've never seen before.
And when we come back, President Trump
No more
defends his
lunatics that worked for the Biden administration and Sleepy Joe. They're vicious. They're violent. What they did to people. And of course, they went after me more than anybody else. They raided Mar-a-Lago and all the other things. But people have been badly hurt. They've committed suicide. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their families. They've lost their wives. They've lost everything. They've lost everything over a fake weaponization of government. Now,
So
let
are
me
you
just tell
looking
you.
for a way to revive it?
Well, look, if it was up to me, I'd pay them the kind of money that they deserve. People have been destroyed. Lives have been destroyed.
Is he talking about
Many
the Gen
suicides.
Xers?
Think of it. People have committed suicide because a bunch of thugs went after them.
You don't-
So, me personally, I think the weaponization fund is a great idea. And so do many other Republicans.
No, they
You have to
don't.
get it.
That's why it's not going anywhere, bro. They don't think it's a good idea. Those Jan 6ers that you pardon, some of them are back in jail for different crimes, worse crimes. They don't need money. They need the justice that they were supposed to get.
Approved. If they get it approved, that's great. If they don't get it approved, I'd be disappointed.
All right, we're going to motor through this.
But you have to understand, people have been destroyed by crooked politicians.
Yeah.
And they should be reimbursed for that.
Do you think anyone who attacked police officers on January 6th should get taxpayer money?
I wouldn't be inclined to say so, but I have to see it. I can tell you this.
That's what he said.
90.
That's what he said when they asked him after he became president or after he won, would he pardon the Jan 6ers? He's like, oh, we'll see, case by case. Who knows? And then he pardoned, just blanket pardoned all of them. Like, come on. We know the game. You're just going to you just want to give them all money and enrich your friends and yourself more.
7% of those people, you look at them, the FBI or whoever it was, because you had a lot of crooked cops, you had dirty cops. Comey was a dirty cop.
Well,
a
there's
guy
no
like
evidence
Bolton was a dirty
but
cop.
there's no evidence.
Wait a minute, wait a
that
minute.
people
Oh, you
even
think Comey was a
170
straight
people
cop?
who pleaded guilty to assaulting police
Comey
officers.
was a dirty cop.
No, but
they
the
had
people who
FBI.
assaulted police
Listen to me.
officers.
They had FBI agents ushering
his FBI agents. Donald Trump. She should have asked Donald Trump, President Trump, who was president January 6, 2021? Was it Obama? Was it James Comey? Or was it you? Whose FBI was it, Donald Trump?
them into the building. They had FBI go into the building. Those people walking around, they're looking always in this thing. They weren't in. They were
There's
being
no
ushered
evidence
into
of
the
that,
building.
sir. There's no evidence.
You
of
had
that.
a bunch of dirty cops, and frankly, what they did was weaponization of our government.
But sir, there's no evidence of that. More than 1,000
No,
people.
well, yeah, no,
pleaded
there's
guilty
none.
to
You know what you
crimes.
do? Try
Would
looking
you-
at the tapes one time.
Would you take it off
Look
the
at the
table?
tapes
Okay,
one time.
but 172 people did plead guilty to assaulting police officers.
You know why they pled
Should
guilty?
they be exempt?
Because they told they
from
were going to
receiving
jail
funds?
for 15 years if they didn't.
Should
They pled guilty because they were.
They pled guilty because they did the crimes. They pled guilty because they did. Some of them weren't even like, some of them didn't even go through trial. They were just like, yeah, I did it. The video evidence is pretty clear, actually. It's the most photographed crime in history. It's pretty obvious who did the crimes. And they pled guilty because they did it.
Frightened. They went down. They were ushered into a building. Many of them were arrested without even
So
going
you'd be
into the
okay
building.
with them receiving taxpayer dollars?
The people were destroyed by dirty cops and by weaponization. Many of those people should be compensated. Now, with that being said, as I understand it, the weaponization fund was going to set up a group of people, people that could be picked by anybody, fair people, smart people, and they will go on an individual case basis. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the weaponization fund. I love the idea.
It's not going to
because
happen. That's what's going to
people
happen. It's not
like
going to
you,
happen.
the fake, dirty press, the crooked press, people
getting
like
pissy.
stupid Biden. He's not smart enough to know what's going on, but people that surrounded him.
Joe Biden hasn't been president for like 2 years, bro. Get over yourself.
Surrounded his beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office. What they did to the lives of people, they destroyed people. They sent people to jail who did nothing wrong.
All right, just to be very clear,
They
there's
sent people
no
to jail who did
evidence of what
plenty
you're
wrong.
saying. But let
There's
me
a
ask
lot
you
of
about
evidence.
Todd Blanche. Let me ask you about
Listen
Todd
to me.
Blanche.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd Blanche.
tremendous evidence. There's nothing
It's
but
not been
evidence. The
presented in
election
a
was
court of
rigged.
law.
It was
Oh,
a
here we
dirty
go.
election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right
Here we
now
go.
in
You never
California.
presented evidence
It's happening
that the
right
2020
now in
election
California.
was rigged.
Right now, look at what's
Where's
happening
the
in
evidence
California.
of
Going on in
that?
California.
It's
The
4
Republicans are
days.
doing well in
In
California.
California,
Here we go.
They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with
That's how they
it.
count
You know
the
why they're
votes in
doing that? Because
California.
they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
All I
that?
have to do
Is
is
there
look.
evidence?
All I have to do is
that's
look.
not
And
evidence.
I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate
That's how they
that they
count the votes in
Do you
California.
think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a
State
winner?
and local officials acknowage they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're
That's
urging
how
the
vote by
votes
mail
to be
works,
counted.
Trump. You
That's
vote
how
by
they
mail.
work in California.
This guy over here,
It's like you're crooked.
this guy over here is complaining about vote by mail. He always votes by mail. Every time. He voted by mail this year and last year and the year before. He votes by mail and he's complaining about vote by mail. This motherfucker won't show up to a polling location.
Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
let's
Well, you
continue.
play right into their hands. then.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid.
Let's
You play
continue.
right into their hands with this rap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide.
Nope.
And I got 94% bad press.
But Mr. President,
You know why I
you
got
never
that?
presented.
He didn't win a landslide. He won by less than 1%. Was it like 50,000 votes? If 50,000 votes changed, he wouldn't be president right now. He won by less than 1%.
Because you have no credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about
elections
You
in
went-
this.
He went to court over 70 times to try and prove that the 2020 election was false. And he lost every single one of those court cases. He couldn't find any evidence. Rudy Giuliani couldn't find any evidence. The fucking My Pillow guy couldn't find any evidence. There is no evidence to suggest that the 2020 election was rigged, and they couldn't find it. His FBI couldn't find it. Kash Patel can't find it. Nobody can find it because it doesn't fucking exist. They raided polling centers or ballot centers in Georgia and still haven't found anything. So you tell me where the evidence is, because there is none. They can't find any, and all they have is excuses. They're a bunch of whiny little bitches complaining that they almost lost an election, and then they did lose an election in 2020. What a bunch of bitches.
Country, we're like a third world country.
But, sir,
Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked. And me.
The reason it takes 5 days to count the ballots is because the ballots have to be postmarked by a certain day, and it all doesn't come in on the same day. Don't be a fool.
The press is crooked,
But, Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President,
Oh, there it is.
I
Great
traveled
shooting.
all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the
traveled
rain with
all.
you.
I know. I
I've sat in the
traveled
rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you
He's
enough
not in the
time.
rain.
You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be
we
great
traveled
with a
all,
dishonest
listen,
press.
we
Come on, let's
traveled
go.
all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
Don't plead with him. There he goes. Oh, he stepped on his own microphone. Wait.
ABC and CBS and CNN.
But Mr. President,
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know. I
sat in the
traveled
rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be
we
great
traveled
with a
all,
dishonest
listen,
press.
we
Come on,
traveled
let's go.
all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
Crunched his own microphone.
I spoke with President Trump on Saturday, and we both acknowledged the complications during the interview posed by the rain. He agreed to sit down with me for another Meet the Press interview.
Oh, he agreed to do another one? I'm sure that one will go well. And he won't fucking rage quit that one, too. All right. On to something. Oh, something we covered on the show previously.
Just not.
Some Wolf Blitzer here. So hello everyone. How's it going? I'm glad we got through that Trump interview. I can see that the chat is rather ruckus. Like and subscribe. And let's mods, let's get some of the riffraff out of here. There's a lot of riffraff in the chat right now. Oh, so on to another news story. I only got like half an hour left, but we'll get through it. Another news story that we covered previously, an airplane came ridiculously close to hitting a highway in Newark, New Jersey last month. And the investigation finally came out, and it was a lot closer than we thought.
19 feet separated a plane and the very busy New Jersey Turnpike. That disturbing revelation comes from a new report by the National Transportation Safety Board. Last month, a United Airlines flight struck a light pole only moments before landing at New Jersey's Newark Airport. The video we're showing you now is the view from inside a truck on that highway.
So regular viewers of the show will know we covered this story from, I guess, the van's point of view, the delivery driver in his van as it got hit by the plane. And luckily the delivery driver is okay. But this is after the NTSB investigation into what actually happened. Now, this is Newark, New Jersey, and one of the runways in Newark is very close to I-95, which is also the Jersey Turnpike. And planes get awfully low over that highway. And this plane got a little too low.
Newark Airport. The video we're showing you now is the view from inside a truck on that highway. And here's some footage from that same incident that a dash cam captured.
Horrifying.
The driver of this truck had non-life-threatening injuries, thank God. Joining us now here in the Situation Room is CNN Aviation correspondent Pete Montine. Pete, what else did we learn from this new report?
Well, a lot of new information in this new preliminary report from the National Transportation Safety Board. The biggest new takeaway, investigators say the pilots of this flight were too low on the descent path into Newark Liberty International Airport for nearly a...
Okay, yeah, that is way too low for an airplane to come in over an interstate highway. Now, Newark is also like right on the water. So there's like nowhere else for these planes to come in because of the flight path that they have to take. But it is way too low to come over an interstate highway. I've driven on this highway when a plane was coming in, and it was much higher than this, and I thought it was way too low. 19 feet is fucking crazy.
Mile before touchdown. Exactly how low?
Look at that shit. Look at how crazy that is. That is way too low for a plane to come in over a highway.
Is laid out in a new plot based on information from the Boeing 767's flight data recorder. It shows United Flight 169 was only 19 feet above the ground when it flew over the center of the New Jersey Turnpike, which is just before the start of...
Christy says NTSB agents are smart, aren't they? The pilots were too low. Holy shit. No shit, Sherlock.
The runway. The track of the airplane's final approach is there in cyan. An early NTSB analysis says usually at that point, a plane should be about 100 feet above the ground. Now, you've seen the dramatic video of the crash from the viewpoint of the delivery truck on the turnpike, but the NTSB says...
Oh, great, United. I'm flying United to Colorado in July. for some fly fishing. Well, I don't think it's entirely United's fault. Some of it is like the Jersey Turnpike is what the other problem is. So the turnpike there, you can see it's sort of elevated. Let's see. You can see here. So there's like an overpass here where the runway comes in because the underpass is to get in the highway. So what happens is these planes come in and like the runway is lower than the overpass. So they have to come in on this descent and try to avoid the overpass, but still hit the runway at the right angle. It's a little bit complicated.
Like it's I-95.
Co-located there. It's about 12 lanes of highway there.
Yeah.
And it's quite infamous for planes flying low over it. There's plenty of dash cam video of other airplanes coming in close contact with vehicles on the highway, but never actually striking one. This is a first.
It's a sad situation. All right, thanks very much, Pete Montine, for an update on that.
The FAA is investigating after a close call between a plane registered to a flight school and a JetBlue passenger flight. The two planes came within just 500.
Hey, remember when they doged all the flight controllers and all that? I wonder what the consequences were of that.
50 feet of each other near Fort Lauderdale. CNN aviation correspondent Pete Montine is with us now.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Newark is especially dangerous sometimes. And there are some crazy airports out there in the country. McKinnon says, hear me out. This may sound crazy, but what if we don't put a highway directly next to planes runway? I know that may sound insane, but have we tried it? What if we gave it a shot?
The details. That's pretty close, Pete. What happened here?
Pretty close, John. This was an interesting case, and the FAA does not say, though, that this constitutes a near miss and maintains that the planes were properly separated, but the air traffic controller heard in this new recording clearly thinks otherwise. This incident happened around 6 p.m. on Monday, just coming to light now. It happened as a JetBlue flight from Ecuador was descending into Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which was in the same.
I think the reason they gave that the plane was too low is that they were just too low. Like there's no actual explanation for it except for they missed their, I guess, altitude trajectory by just a smidge. Once again, landing on that specific runway at that airport is a tough task because of the 12-lane highway and the overpass. So it was a little bit of human error.
Same area as a light flight training airplane. Now, the flight track shows that plane doing maneuvers when collision warnings sounded in the cockpit of the JetBlue flight, and the pilots had to take action by climbing. I want you to listen now to the air traffic control exchange that took place.
They're turning toward us. I see them also descending. Yeah, they are southwestbound. Nope, the JetBlue 1286. They appear to be leveling at 4,400 feet now. That guy's insane.
Now, the data from Flight Radar 24 shows the planes were only about 500 feet apart vertically, but they were still 1.6 miles apart horizontally. Not close enough to constitute a near midair collision by the FAA's terms, but even still, the FAA says it's investigating this. One important piece of context that I found when I went back and looked at the flight tracks. This training plane was not talking to air traffic control. That's not required in that area west of Fort Lauderdale. The plane was, however, broadcasting its location using the latest collision avoidance technology called ADS-B. Now, the National Transportation Safety Board found that equipment was not fully utilized during last year's fatal midair collision at Reagan National Airport. There's still a fight in Congress over a bill that will require more aircraft to use that technology in more places. John.
All right, so that was an update on a plane story that we covered about a month ago. I think I have one. This is very local. This is local to me because it's Connecticut news, but I thought it was hilarious and horrifying at the same time.
This is certainly an unusual situation for sure.
So just a little bit of context. The headquarters for the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment, and UFC are in Stamford, Connecticut. And they have a big headquarters building and all that stuff. That's a giant WWE title belt behind them. That's their headquarters right there. Something rather unusual happened over the weekend.
Most of the power for customers now in Stamford and Greenwich has been restored. Let me show you the top of the WWE building here in Stamford. You'll notice there's no flag. That's because the 3,000 square foot American flag, one of the largest in the country, blew off in the 55 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts Saturday, causing a major power outage to Stamford and Greenwich.
Wow, that was here? That's like fireworks. That's crazy.
That's absolutely insane. People in Stamford Monday reacting to this video that's been trending online. You can see that power line spark and catch fire. Fire officials telling us the American flag flew off the WWE building in Saturday's storm and hit an Eversource transmission line, causing a chain reaction of issues, knocking out power to thousands of people.
Oh my God. That's why our power went out.
Here are pictures of that flag from early Sunday. You can see it tangled in those power lines.
Oh my gosh, they got to get a new one.
And here was a scene in Greenwich on Sunday. Businesses were forced to close because they had no power. Eversource says as crews were working to remove the flag, it hit another line that knocked out power to more than 20,000 people in Greenwich, almost 100% of the customers.
First of all, a bit of Connecticut lore. Eversource is notorious for being shitty. Eversource is one of the two major power companies in the state, and they are notorious for being shitty. So the fact that they were trying to fix it and they made it worse, that tracks. And WWE, not keeping to the flag code here. You're not supposed to. This was during a thunderstorm over the weekend. You're supposed to take the flag down during a storm, guys. This is what happens when you don't take the flag down during a storm. Come on, get it together.
Power lines.
Oh my gosh, they got to get a new one.
And here was a scene in Greenwich on Sunday. Businesses were forced to close because they had no power. Eversource says as crews were working to remove the flag, it hit another line that knocked out power to more than 20,000 people in Greenwich, almost 100% of the customers.
Imagine trying to get that flag off the power lines. Damn. Wouldn't want to be those guys. Yeah, man. Especially if you're doing it and then the flag trips another breaker.
And we reached out to the city and WWE for comment, but have not heard back. Eversource says they are working closely to identify the original location of the flag and has strict protocols about what is permitted on their infrastructure. In Stamford, Mark Sudol.
It's very funny that WWE had such a giant fucking, because I know where that building is in Stamford, and it's once again very close to a highway, lots of high tension power lines over there, because there's also train tracks, and I think they're not too far from a power substation. So yeah, because you can see on the bottom. Oh, you can't see. Hold on, let me fix it. Okay, so that high tension line right there, you can see in the bottom over here in the left-hand corner, that is train tracks and the power system for the train. So no matter where that flag went, it was going to fuck something up. 2 British pounds from Viper Scott. Tim, go with what you... Oh, me for the Civics Corner? Okay, we're going to do a little bit of state and local politics for the Civics Corner. Get some fun stuff going here. But anyway, it's a dangerous area for anything to be like flying around in, especially something that's going to set off the power lines. But WWE, take your flag down during the thunderstorms. Stop causing power outages. Yep. Wrong button. There we go. All right. I'm going to do a quick, like 10-minute little Civics Corner. And then we'll get out of here. And I guess, yeah, no Mikey today. But he's still moving, so we'll give him time. But thanks for everyone for watching so far. Show's not over yet. But thanks everyone for watching so far. we are going to do one quick thing. Hold on. Damn it. We're going to do one little quick thing, and then we'll get out of here. But like and subscribe. If you like the show, if you like what we're talking about, it's worth a like and subscribe. Hit the notification button. And, yeah, maybe we'll do that. And do all the things. Sorry, I'm trying to find the video that I wanted to find. Here we go. We already did that. So, for those of you who don't know what Viper Scott's Civics Corner is, Viper Scott, who basically owns the show at this point, has been funding a specific segment on the show called our Civics Corner, where we talk about American politics and how American government works. So what we are going to do is watch a little video about certain topics in American government. We recently went through the Constitution and the amendments of the Constitution. If you want to go back, I think we set up a playlist on the old channel. So if you want to go, there's a playlist for Viper Scott Civics Corner, and go and watch that. Catch up on what you missed. And we are going to talk about, let's see. Here we go. This is actually pretty important. So let's put it up on the screen. I'll unmute it. I use these videos for when I teach my political science and sociology classes. So they're informational and interesting. Hopefully I don't get any content strikes. They're not monetized or anything, but whatever. Anyway, we're going to learn about gerrymandering. Yay!
Hi, I'm Craig, and this is Crash Course Government and Politics, and today I'm going to talk about a topic in American politics that tends to drive people crazy! No, it's not partisanship or horse race journalism or the state of political punditry, although we could easily do episodes on all three of those, and we might. Nope, today we're going to look at the election districts and how they shape electoral outcomes, and that means, you guessed it, we're going to talk about gerrymandering. Thank goodness, gerrymandering is a blight on our American election system. It completely...
Oh, yes, I did see Trump getting booed mercilessly at the... You know what? All right, we'll do a quick Civics Corner and we'll talk about that. But I did see it, and I have comments about the Knicks game.
Completely thwarts the will of the majority, and it's responsible for our lopsided House of Representatives. Not so fast, my left-wing sore loser friend. Gerrymandering is not nearly as responsible for the 2014 Republican Congress as the fact that people like you self-segregate into urban...
This video is 10 years old. Just be aware of that.
Enclaves of socialism. All right, calm down, clones. Gerrymandering is a little more nuanced than that. Let's talk it out. Congressional apportionment, how many representatives each state gets, is super exciting, even though it only changes every 10 years. Since the number of representatives each state gets is based on population, it's important to know how many people are in each state. That's one reason, at least in the Constitution, that we have a census every 10 years. The most populous state, California, has the largest number of representatives, 53, and the least populous states have only one. Sorry, Alaska, Delaware, the Dakotas, Vermont, and Wyoming, and Montana.
There's a lot of states that only have one congressman.
Montana and the state of loneliness. One is the loneliest number. In those sparsely populated states, figuring out the election...
I believe those numbers have changed slightly since this is 10 years old, and there was another census, and there was a bit more reapportionment. I believe California gained another representative, and like New York lost one, Florida gained one. Like there was a little bit of jumbling around, but yeah, that's basically the numbers.
District, which geographic area is represented by a congressman, is easy because there's only one district. This makes elections in these states effectively at-large elections, like a state's choice for senator. Even though there are 2 senators from each state, they represent the entire state at large rather than only a part of it, like representatives are supposed to do.
And if we remember from our segments about the Constitution and Article 2, it says that The Senate is 2 statewide senators, and the House of Representatives originally was supposed to be 1 representative for every 30,000 people, but obviously the United States population is much higher than it was in 1781, and you can't really get those kind of numbers. I think we calculated it out, and if they stayed to those numbers, it would be approximately 3,000 representatives in the House of Representatives. So at some point, there was a law passed that capped the number of representatives at 435, and then based on a state's population, that sort of shifts around as populations move to different states.
The Electoral College, the system through which Americans choose their president, are also a type of at-large election. The rest of the states are divided into what are...
And once again, the Electoral College is the system by which we vote for president. It's not a direct election, but every state's votes, according to the Electoral College, is the number of their senators plus their number of representatives. So I believe for the state that I live in, the state of Connecticut, it's 5 representatives, 2 senators, so we get 7 votes in the Electoral College elections. So that means we have 7 electors.
Called single-member districts. This means that each election district chooses 1 representative. Now, you might think it would be simple to divide a state into as many pieces as it has representatives, but why would you think that? Nothing is simple. Districts are required to be equal or almost equal in population, and in most states, populations are not evenly distributed across the entire region.
That's why you get states with 1 representative, and then who have slightly higher than the average, but not higher enough to warrant a second representative, like say North Dakota has about 800,000 people in it. That's slightly higher than the average per representative. I believe the average per representative is around 750,000. But there's not enough people in North Dakota to give them a second representative. So it's not quite equally distributed, and that's why you can theoretically say that a vote in California is worth less than a vote in North Dakota, because California, its population forces it to kind of give other representatives to other states, because there's so many people in California that it's more, how do I put this? The way that it works is that California's population is so high that they're closer to the average. So let's say they're about 750,000 people per representative in California. But if there's 850,000 people in North Dakota, that means that they have essentially just a little bit more power. And when it comes to the Electoral College, they get 3 votes regardless of what happens. So they already have an advantage. If you game it out in the Electoral College system, if you game it out and you pick up all these little states that have 3 votes here, 3 votes there, 4 votes here, 4 votes there, you can quickly outmatch the bigger populous states, because there's so many states with small votes in them. That's why the Southern strategy works so well, because like Mississippi and Alabama and all these other states, they don't have that many people in them, but they still get a higher representation in the Electoral College because it's their representatives plus their senators. Everyone gets 2. Like Rhode Island, nobody fucking lives in Rhode Island, but they still get 3 representatives. Nobody fucking lives in New Hampshire, they still get 3 or 4 representatives. Nobody fucking lives in North Dakota, they still get 3 representatives. So that's why it's not equally distributed across the entire country, is because the system itself is inherently unequal just by the design of the system. That's why it has an error rate. That's why Donald Trump won the Electoral College in 2016, but didn't win the popular vote. He got through the flaw in the system.
The notion that election districts must encompass equal population is the essence of the idea of 1 person, 1 vote, a principle that was cast into law by the 1962 Supreme Court.
He's about to explain it much better than I did.
Court decision in Baker versus Carr. It means that a person's vote counts equally no matter where they live, at least as far as the House of Representatives goes. In the Senate, it doesn't actually work out because the resident of a small state like Delaware has the same number of senators, 2 as a resident of California. To put it another way, in 2014, 2 senators represented 897,934 Delawareans, and the same number of senators represented approximately 38 million Californians. In the House...
Okay. Yeah, he explained it a lot better than I did. So...
Warrens, and the same number of senators represented approximately 38 million Californians.
So he explained it a lot better than I did. I tried to explain it through the House of Representatives. He's explaining it through the Senate. That's a much better way to explain it. Oh my God. Viper Scott, listen, all right, we're just going to change the name of the channel to Viper Scott Presents The Bin. And Mikey's just going to have to deal with that. Because, okay, first of all, like and subscribe. Hold on. Like and subscribe. And 10 more people have been gifted bin memberships by Viper Scott. Hold on, I gotta get them. I gotta find them. Where are they? Who are they? Oh. Maybe I gotta refresh it. Hold on. It's not coming through on my YouTube chat, so let me see. Why isn't it coming through? There we go. There we go. All right. Right in the middle of Viper Scott Civics Corner. Hey, we got...
Well, I did this. Why can't you?
All right, the following people have gifted memberships thanks to Viper Scott. Kimberly Diamond, Starlight Zen Space, Pound Thing Stuff More. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Aramis, Him Eve, Rachel M, Maya Atkinson, Wheels Darren, Big 120 Trees. Ooh, Brenna got a membership, and Indy. Oh, not Indy Duck Me. Haha. But yes, Brenna Duncan of bin fame. All right, let me get through this, and then we can go.
In the House, each representative is responsible for about 700,000 to 800,000 people, which is still a lot, but much better than one senator for 19 million Californians or 13 million Texans. The idea that people should be equally represented in Congress shouldn't be controversial, and for the most part, it's not. What is controversial is the way that minority groups are represented. One of the problems with single-member districts is that they can make it easier to cut minority groups out of the political landscape. After all, if in a given state only 15% of the residents are minorities, it will be more difficult for them to elect a member of their own group, even under a plurality rule, unless that person can appeal to a large number of non-minority people. Congress and the Supreme Court have tried to remedy this problem by mandating that there be majority-minority districts, which is a confusing way of saying districts where the majority of voters are members.
Hey, not anymore, according to the Supreme Court.
Of a minority group. This is a little like affirmative action in the realm of voting, and as you might have guessed, there's a fair amount of disagreement among people who think a lot about it, although I'd bet that number itself is a pretty small minority. This idea of majority-minority districts leads us into a really fun aspect of congressional districting, the way that the districts themselves are drawn, a process known as gerrymandering after the 19th century political cartoon that depicted one particular Massachusetts district that looked like a reptile. Oh, there it is. Looks like a dragon or something. And we all know dragons are reptiles.
Yeah, there's a lot of these kinds of fucking gerrymandered districts in the country, in states all over. As long as they have more than a couple representatives, you'll see. We can pull up any state map that has, like, I don't know, 10 or more reps, and you'll see one of these dragon districts, or sometimes they call them salamander districts. They're just crazy looking.
The man responsible for this twisted district, the name of my band in high school, was Elbridge Gerry, hence the name gerrymander. So districts have to be drawn in a way that they contain roughly equal populations. So why does it matter if they look convoluted or even somewhat ridiculous, like this? Well, states don't just draw districts to make them equal in population. They draw them to capture certain population characteristics so that one party has a greater chance of electing a member from a particular district. In the district pictured here, the Illinois 4th, Chicago has been carved up to capture a certain population. Me. That's the district I live in. Usually, districts are drawn so that they can capture my vote, or a significant majority of one party or the other, virtually ensuring that a particular district will elect only a Democrat or Republican, as the case may be. You might have...
Yeah, in the whole country, like this guy was saying, in the whole country, there's about between 40 and 60 House districts out of 435 that are considered up for grabs every 2 years. The other 360 of them are either solid Dem or solid Republican. It would take a big change election to really shift that. And it's become more and more distinct as time has gone on. I mean, you can see in the last couple of elections how close the margins are in the House of Representatives. Because these districts are becoming ever more gerrymandered towards safety to one party or another. And both parties do it. Republicans do it. Democrats do it. They've been doing it all year. But now they're trying to eke out more districts, and they're sacrificing the safety, the numbers of their majorities in some of the other districts so they can make more districts for their parties. And depending on which way the midterms go, that's going to be a problem for one of them. Because if you're sacrificing some of your margins so that you can make other districts your party, you're going to run into a huge problem when there's like a 10% shift, let's say, away from the Republican Party, and maybe districts who were considered safe are no longer safe because they watered down those districts.
Ensuring that a particular district will elect only a Democrat or Republican, as the case may be. You might have noticed that thin strip on the Illinois 4th's western edge connecting the upper half and the lower half. Look carefully and you'll see that it runs along the interstate, which I'm sure means that it has a huge population. Why do we do this? Because one of the requirements according to federal election law is that districts not only be roughly the same size in terms of population, but also that they be contiguous, meaning that they can't be divided completely by other districts. This requirement results in some pretty weird configurations. So
yeah, let's go back to that for a second.
Be divided completely by other districts. This requirement results in...
So because they have to be contiguous, you can't like have them separated by other districts. So they get kind of squiggly. If you want to carve out a certain neighborhood or a certain area in a city, they get pretty squiggly, like ridiculously squiggly.
Some pretty weird configurations. So who draws these cockamamie districts anyway? Well, they're done by state legislatures. Well, not legislatures themselves, but by people working at the behest of legislatures. If one party has a majority of the state legislature, say the Democrats, they usually want to draw the districts so that Democrats have a better chance of winning. Republicans do the same thing. This is why state legislature elections matter so much in census years. Whoever wins that year gets to redraw the districts. A couple of things to note here. First, there's no rule saying that states can't redraw their districts whenever they want. Texas,
which we found out in 2026. There is no rule saying that you can't do it whenever you want. We all know that now.
Tried to do this in 2003, not a census year, prompting its Democrats to run away to Oklahoma for a spell. Second, it's possible for a state to hand the task over to a less biased expert district drawing person or group that might make districts more fair. Hand it over to me. I'll make them all look like little bunnies. But wait, you might ask yourself, what's wrong with this system and why do people think it's unfair? Let's go to the thought bubble. So imagine a state that's 60% Republican and 40% Democrat and has 5 electoral districts, like this one. Let's call it Clone-Sylvania. You could draw districts so that there were 3 Republican districts and 2 Democratic ones, accurately reflecting the state's population.
Moses Satori says, when they change a district, it also affects, aside from who gets elected, like schools, resources of the people that actually live in them. It also, when they're changing districts like they do this year, it confuses the shit out of voters. And that's part of the plan, is to confuse the shit out of people. Because if you have a primary election where you're voting in one district and then a general election where you're voting in another district, who the fuck are you? Do you even know who you're voting for at that point? And they're changing up people's representation. So yes, it does change based on who your representative, like what the resources that they try to get for your district.
Population, like this. Or you could redraw it so that there were 3 Democratic districts and 2 Republican districts, which would be an inaccurate reflection of the party composition of the state's population. Or you could simply draw the districts so that you had 5 Republican districts and 0 Democratic ones, like this. So you can see, especially in the second and third examples, how gerrymandering can result in districts that don't actually reflect the political makeup of a state at all. By now, you might be fuming at the injustice of state legislatures redrawing districts to make sure that the opposing party has no chance of winning national congressional elections. You may have read a number of articles blaming gerrymandering for the composition of the current Congress and for making congressional elections generally less competitive. There are a lot of people who feel the same way. But there's a counter-argument that it's not the state legislatures that result in solidly Republican or solidly Democratic districts, but the fact that Democratic voters tend to cluster in cities where they often outnumber Republicans by a lot. So that states like Ohio, even though the numbers of Democrats and Republicans are pretty even with a slight edge going to Democrats perhaps, they all tend to concentrate in urban areas around
10-year-old video. It's the other way around now.
Cleveland and Columbus, so that the overwhelming majority of the state's districts are won by Republicans. Thanks, Thought Bubble. Congressional districting is fascinating and really, really important for determining the composition of Congress, but it's also quite complicated, which, as with most things, makes it difficult to understand. But unlike some other complicated issues concerning policy, gerrymandering is one that's easy to criticize because the visual results are so striking and because it can result in numbers that just look unfair. This is probably why, come election time, you'll hear a lot about it. Now at least you'll have a better idea of what those pundits are talking about and you'll be better equipped to make make your own decision about the issue. Luckily for you, there's more and more data about this stuff every election and always more to learn. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next.
Thanks, Guy, whoever you are. So yeah, that was gerrymandering. A little primer on gerrymandering. We talk about it a lot on the show, so I figured we'd watch a video about it because it's important. But yes, that is an argument against gerrymandering being so bad, is that cities do tend to be blue and rural areas do tend to be red. And so when people have high population density, but the counter argument to that is cities have more congressional districts because they're highly populated. There are most of New York's congressional districts are New York City and Long Island because they're highly populated areas. So, and Mikey's always talking about the districts in Chicago. There's a bunch of districts in Chicago. Unfortunately, because the population density is so high, you kind of have to do the squiggles because that's just how it works. You're carving out like neighborhoods at that point. Like the area of a congressional district of, like, let's say AOC, she represents part of New York City. The area of her congressional district is much smaller than, let's say, a Texas Republican who like represents farm country. Their district is going to be a lot bigger because the population density of that district is much smaller. So there is a lot of gamesmanship that goes into redrawing these districts. There's a lot of political thought put into it. There's a lot of number crunching nowadays and a lot of computer generated districts. That's why you get all the squigglies. But that is gerrymandering in a nutshell. Quick little 15 minutes on it. I will clip this up and put it into the playlist. I said I was going to talk about the Knicks, but we're going to have to wait till maybe tomorrow or Thursday because I'm out of time. So, one last plea for everyone to like and subscribe to the show. If you like what you're watching, thanks. And yeah, thanks to all the mods for battling it out with the trolls today. I know there were a lot. Whenever we talk about Trump stuff, it always seems to rile them up a bit. So thanks to everyone out there for making sure that they didn't get too crazy. And hopefully Mikey will be back on Thursday or Wednesday. And I will see you all hopefully tomorrow. If not, definitely Thursday. It depends on my schedule and Mikey's schedule. We will see. We're going to call it Wacky Summer for now because he's moving. I got added stuff for the next 2 weeks. But definitely, yeah, we had a lot. I think we had up to 100 in the vertical at one point. So I will see everyone at the very least on Thursday, but maybe tomorrow. We'll have some fun. And I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go. Don't forget to drink your meek.